The brown note, the sound frequency so powerful, it could make you literally shit your pants.
Here's something I learned while avoiding real responsibilities.
Welcome back to Are You Shitting Me? Something I learned while avoiding real responsibilities, where the truth is stranger than fiction and sometimes louder. I'm Brett, and today we're tackling one of the internet's most legendary myths, the brown note. That's right, the supposed sound frequency so powerful it could make you literally shit your pants. Spoiler alert, your pants are probably safe. But the story of how this myth became legendary, that's worth exploring. I said exploring, not exploding. Though honestly, both kind of work here. So what exactly is the brown note? It's supposedly an infrasonic frequency, sound below 20 hertz, which is lower than humans can actually hear. The theory goes that this magical frequency can make your internal organs vibrate at just the right resonance to cause instant, uncontrollable bowel movements. Think of it like an evil tuning fork for your intestines. Play this sound loud enough and even the most dignified person will suddenly need a change of clothes and a lot of explaining to do. The name brown note is obviously a reference to, well, you know, brown, the color of embarrassment, which is not named for the sound it makes, but for the mess it supposedly leaves behind, which is honestly more creative naming than most scientific discoveries get. I'm looking at you, boink and foof. Like most great myths, the brown note started with a grain of truth and then got completely out of hand. The concept stems from real science about infrasound, those super low frequencies you feel more than you hear. Infrasound occurs naturally during earthquakes, storms, and even when large buildings sway in the wind. Scientists have documented that exposure to certain low frequencies can cause feelings of anxiety, nausea, disorientation. Some people report feeling like they're being watched, getting chills, or experiencing genuine dread when exposed to infrasound. This is actually where a lot of haunted locations get their spooky reputation. Old buildings with faulty HVAC systems or structural issues can produce infrasound that make people feel genuinely unsettled without knowing why. So basically, some haunted houses are just houses with bad plumbing, which, let's be honest, is pretty terrifying in its own right. The myth really exploded in the early days of internet forums. People started sharing stories about secret military weapons that could incapacitate enemies without violence. Just point a giant speaker at them, and boom, instant surrender through pure acoustic humiliation. Urban legends popped up about rock concerts where the bass was so low that audience members had accidents. The internet in the 90s was basically just people sharing conspiracy theories about weaponized fart sounds, which truly explains a lot about how we got here. Then South Park blasted it into pop culture on January 12, 2000, in the episode Worldwide Recorder Concert. 4 million recorders combined to create the brown noise, and everyone in the world ends up crapping their pants. Classic South Park. The brown note got its biggest reality check in the mid-2000s when MythBusters decided to tackle it. Adam and Jamie built a massive infrasonic speaker system capable of producing incredibly low frequencies at skull-rattling volumes. They tested it on themselves and several volunteers, exposing them to frequencies between 5 and 20 hertz. They monitored everyone for signs of digestive distress. The results? Nobody had an accident. Nobody even felt particularly uncomfortable in their stomach region. Test subjects reported feeling vibrations in their chest, their throat, and some felt disoriented, but their bowels remained completely under control. MythBusters basically spent an entire episode trying to use science to make people poop themselves, and failed, which is either disappointing or reassuring depending on your perspective. The verdict? Busted. So if it doesn't make you poop, what does infrasound actually do? Here's what really happens. Low frequencies affect your inner ear, which controls balance and spatial orientation. This makes you feel dizzy or nauseous. They can cause your eyeballs to vibrate slightly, creating visual distortions or the sensation that shadows are moving in your peripheral vision. Infrasound makes your chest cavity resonate, creating an uncomfortable feeling of pressure or tightness, like there's a weight on your chest. But your digestive system? Pretty much unaffected. Your intestines don't respond to sound frequencies the way other parts of your body do. So the brown note is real, it just affects the wrong end of your body. Instead of making you poop, it makes you feel like you're seeing ghosts and having a panic attack. Much less embarrassing, equally unpleasant. Interestingly, various militaries have researched acoustic weapons, including infrasonic devices. But the research shows the same thing. While infrasound makes people feel uncomfortable, it can't reliably incapacitate them or cause instant involuntary reactions. Turns out, the military's approach to sonic warfare is basically just cranking up some really obnoxious music until the enemy surrenders out of pure annoyance. Thinking like Mariah. More realistic than weaponized bathroom emergencies. So if the brown note doesn't work, why do people still believe in it? First, it's hilarious. The idea of a sound that makes people poop is inherently funny, especially when you imagine it being used against pompous authority figures. Second, it feels like it should be real. We all know certain sounds can make us uncomfortable or even physically sick. It's not a huge leap to imagine the right frequency could affect the bodily functions. Third, conspiracy appeal. There's something seductive about the idea of a secret frequency that they don't want us to know about. Plus, everyone's had that moment where a really deep bass note at a concert made them feel something in their stomach. It's easy to think, what if it was just a little lower or a little louder? Spoiler, still nothing. While the weaponized brown note remains a myth, infrasound research continues for legitimate purposes. Researchers use infrasound to study earthquakes, monitor nuclear tests, and track severe weather. Elephants communicate using infrasound over long distances. Some animals can sense approaching natural disasters through infrasonic vibrations. There's also ongoing research into how infrasound affects human psychology and health, particularly in urban environments, where low-frequency noise pollution from traffic and construction might be affecting us in ways we don't fully understand. Want to know what actually causes sudden digestive emergencies? It's not mysterious sound frequencies. It's usually food poisoning, stress, medical conditions, or questionable food choices. The real brown note is more likely to come from expired milk, gas station sushi, or that burrito you probably shouldn't have eaten. Much less scientific, much more common. And that's the brown note. Proof that sometimes the funniest myths are also the crappiest. While infrasound can definitely mess with your head and make you feel uneasy, it's not going to turn you into a walking advertisement for adult diapers. The next time someone claims they've discovered the brown note frequency, you can confidently tell them they're full of it. Ironically, that might be the closest anyone gets to the real thing. I'm Brett, and this has been Are You Shitting Me? Something I learned while avoiding real responsibilities. If you enjoyed this episode, hit subscribe, leave a review, unless you're too scared of the brown note. Tune in next time, because you're not going to want to miss when I talk about